Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hold On Till Dawn podcast. Today, I'm excited about the special guest I have. It is my sister, Kathryn. Hey!
Okay. I was just trying to get the lighting right. I can tell Gadsby's already ready to scream at me. He's jumping on me right now.
He's like, who are you talking to?
What he does every time I can't I have to work on the couch because then he can at least,
Gatsby!
he's like,
Gatsby, you little mama's boy. Hi!
hey, hey. Hmm.
I
I
think
think I
she'll.
might have to move because he's not going to let me do this. He
Okay.
dictates my life. Yeah, we can just begin, right?
Okay. So, the podcast episodes that I put out always have a mental health focus, and physical health can really play into mental health and affect you. So, you are a certified yoga instructor, and I want to start at the beginning and talk about how yoga first came into your life.
I first started taking yoga when I was in high school with a good friend of mine at the time. She's the one who introduced me to like the practice of yoga. So I started there. It was like 2012 or 2011, like around that time, like sophomore, junior year, I think, of high school. And we would go to core power yoga, which is very like regimented and kind of formulaic yoga. So, yeah, so that's what started me taking yoga. Back then, it was just kind of like something to do, and it was something to do with my friends. So, like time together. So that was fun. But when it became like more serious was during COVID for me. I also was thinking about this when you sent over the questions, and um, it really coincided with when I got my license because I didn't, as you know, I didn't get a license until 2020. I got my license in February of 2020 and then COVID hit in March. So like I just got my license. If I didn't have a license during COVID, I think I would have lost my mind. But so during that time, I had a car, I had my license for the first time. And I was also in the middle of there was so much happening in my life in 2020. COVID was obviously happening in the background, but I was also actively getting a divorce. And the same year, my best friend died of suicide. So that year, like, it was like everything everywhere all at once for me. So I like having, I would take basically, I found a studio and I would take two classes a day. Like, there was a period where I was we lived in Winchester, going to Lexington twice a day just to take these classes because it was something to do. And I felt so much better like after doing this physical activity. It was so easy during COVID to like sit around and do nothing and like put
Yeah.
on weight and become sedentary. So that was a big part of it. But it was during that time period, I think it was 2021, that I had one of the teachers at the studio approach me and say like, would you ever like we do trainings here. Would you ever like consider doing a training? It was actually the owner of the studio. And so it was kind of from there that I started thinking about doing like the teacher training. And that was when like the teaching journey began. So, yeah.
How many hours of training have you completed, and what was that experience like for you? Because I know some of the trainings, or maybe all of the trainings, took place at like an isolated retreat kind of place, right?
Yeah. So I have done over 500 hours of training. I don't know the exact number. I'm a 500-hour registered yoga teacher. So you can be 200 level, which is like the first level that you can start teaching. Not all studios, at least in Massachusetts, it's not like a requirement to even have a registered yoga
Oh,
licensure,
really? Hmm.
which is interesting. But where I teach and where I was, at least that's how it used to be. I don't know if they've changed or anything from what I understood. So, but most people are like, if they go to teach, most people do get their RYT, the Registered Yoga Teacher certification through the Yoga Alliance, is like the company that kind of oversees
Is that
that.
a national company?
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
company that it's like you can kind of take it or I don't want to talk bad about it, but you can kind of like take it or leave it for some teachers. Like, because there's a lot of continuing education requirements that you have to do. You have to pay annual fees to be kept into their like to maintain like I don't even think I pay, I'm like outing myself here, but I don't even think I paid my dues like this past 2 years. Like, I don't know. You just, because the studios you work at don't really care about that. They just care that you did the trainings really and that you know
Yeah.
what you're actually doing and that you're teaching a class that benefits the people that are coming to take your class. And so the first training I did was the 200 hour, and that was at a studio, the studio that I was taking classes at in COVID, where the owner approached me and talked about teacher training for the first time. That was in Lexington. And that program, every program is different, but that program that I did was, it started March 2021 and I graduated in November 2021. And we would meet one weekend every month. I would say that's not like particularly usual. Like a lot of programs are much more compact than that, and they might meet for like 6 weekends in a row and kind of like bang it out. But every studio and every place that does it kind of has their own way that they do it, but you do have to get the 200 hours of training in that time frame. So that's where I did my first training, and then
What made you
my
want to continue with more than 200 hours?
there was a time period where I really thought that I was like my sole professional purpose in life was going to be a yoga teacher. And so I wanted more education. And just to be frank, you also make more money per class if you have higher credentials than
Hmm.
other people, to be honest. So that was also a factor because that was the only job that I had and was doing and was pursuing. So I really wanted to like be the best at what I did and like really continue to learn and if I wanted to get like those peak time slots on the days that I wanted, if I wanted to have a little bit more selectivity also with the pay that I was given, I had to basically put in the work to get that.
Hmm.
So yeah, the second training that I did, this is more of a funny, like serendipitous story. So I trained at Kripalu Center for Yoga and Health. That's in Western Massachusetts. And they are a pretty well-known yoga place. They used to be an ashram that was run by a guru named Swami Kripalu. But he was like a renunciate, but he has this lineage. And so the school is named after him, but it used to be an ashram where in the 70s, these people would go and they would live there. They would volunteer. They stayed there for free, and all they would do was like practice yoga and they got to live there for free. It's not the case anymore. You can't just go there and stay for free, which is too bad. But my teachers were some of the people during the 70s that lived there and like worked and under the people that worked under Swami
That's
Kripalu. So
cool.
it was so cool to hear their stories and stuff of that time. The Kripalu is where I did my 500-hour training. And initially, when I was going to do it, I just so happened I remember where I was. I was in my apartment in Malden with Chris in bed one night or one morning on a Saturday. We were just hanging out doing stuff like separately but together when you're doing your separate things, but you're
Hmm.
together as you're doing. And I just like, I was like, I want to do a 500-hour training and I really want to find a place that's a little bit more like, I loved where I took my 200-hour training. And I actually am still really close, like best friends with one of the women that I met in that program. I'm actually going to her 50th birthday party tomorrow at her house. So I made like such a good friend during that program and it gave me my foundation. But unfortunately, I think it was because it was during the COVID era, the other people who were in my cohort, in my opinion, just did not really take it that seriously. Like some of them showed up for less than like 50%
Oh,
of the
wow.
200 hours. And it really created this weird dynamic with me and my other friends who like actually were there and put in the work. And then these other people unfortunately didn't. So it just created kind of like this weird dynamic of like, okay, we're taking this seriously, but you're not. So why are you kind of here? Like it maybe they didn't, it was just not the right time. Like they just should not have committed. And I've been there because back in 2019, I actually did my very first yoga teacher training in Martha's Vineyard in Edgartown. But it was when I was with my ex-husband and I was myself, just like it was just so not the right time or place for it. So like I've been there, so I can sympathize that like you can really want to do something, but sometimes you can just really not be in the right headspace to do it and to commit fully. And it's not quite fair to the other people that you're doing it with or to your teachers if you're not able to really show up, and that's okay, but do it at a different time.
That reminds
So,
me of, sorry to cut you off, but
no,
that
you're
reminds
good.
me of similar but different when I was in college and studying theater. There was a class I had to take, which was, I think it was the acting class, and two boys that were like kids, they were guys that just like didn't care about anything. They just picked this as an elective because they thought it was going to be easy. And we had to do partner scene work. And we had two different scenes throughout the semester. And guess who my two partners were? Those two boys out of everyone. I was
Oh,
like, is this an actual joke?
oh
So neither one of
no.
them wanted to meet and rehearse. So at the time, I was like rehearsing with my boyfriend that I was dating. And I was like, cool, I guess I'm just going to show up. The one didn't even show up for the scene, so I had to have somebody else fill in for him. But
Hey,
I
that's
was
on
so
him.
frustrated because I was like, I have to take this course and do well because it's part of my major. You're taking this because you think it's an easy A and you don't even care. So,
Yeah. Oh, it's so infuriating. I'm in, as you know, I'm in college again right now, and I'm getting my bachelor's. So I'm with people who are literally 18, 17, 19 years old, and I'm 30. And so as of like so far, we've just had single work, like do your own papers, whatever. But just today, I had my geography teacher or geology teacher like announce that we're going to be doing a group project at the end of the year. And I'm looking around the room and I'm like, okay, she takes it seriously. He does not. He's been here one day out of 1,000. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm already trying to. So, like, if we can pick our own partners, I already have
I
a
hope that
girl
you
in
can.
mind because of that. Like, because so many
Yeah.
people, especially when you're in college, though, like when you're 18, whatever, like that, I feel like is more understandable. Like, when I first did the rodeo, like, I didn't always take it seriously with certain classes, and I kind of like would piggyback off people. So, like, I've been that other person. But anyway, I say all this to say that the reason I really chose Kripalu to apply was because I knew that it was like a world-renowned place. Like when I did stay there, one of my bunkmates, one of the 4 times I was there for the training, she was from Germany. Like she came
Oh,
all the
wow.
way from Germany just to do her week training, which was like, I was like, oh wow, like this really is like known throughout the world. So that's crazy. Here I am thinking like, oh, I have such a long 2.5 hour drive to Western Mass. And this girl is like, I'm a little jet lagged. I just got off of the plane. But so that's like why I wanted to go for a place because I wanted my peers to also be taking it really seriously, and then I could feed off of that energy
Yeah.
of that level of commitment to it. Like it's just people that want to be there. Every time for the 500-hour training at Kripalu, when I did it, which was like I graduated in 2024 and I started in 2023. So you have to do 4 modules. 2 of them are required. Everyone has to do it. It's teaching meditation and teaching pranayama or breath work. And then you get to choose 2 of your own out of a different selection. So it's a big commitment because every time you go, you're there for 9 days and 10 nights or 10 days and 9 nights. It's like over a week. So it's a huge commitment, which was nice and refreshing coming from the previous training that I had done where like there it just was
Yeah.
not. So that's what I wanted. So anyway, I had applied for it online just because I had heard of it from a couple different people, heard really good things, was super curious. You can go there for a day to do like R&R programs, but I was just like, let me just try to apply for this. And then I, couple whatever weeks later, found out that I got into the program. I had such an amazing experience there. Like I will tell everybody and anybody, like if you want to train to be a yoga teacher, like I had such an amazing experience. I had such knowledgeable teachers. Like it's an incredible place. And I met my one of my best friends there, Jeff, the one that I mentioned.
Hmm.
So, yeah, so many like good memories and so many good things came from Kripalu for me. And
Good.
then I did a yoga nidra training. So this would be the final like training that I did, which yoga nidra is like doing guided meditation. It doesn't involve any like physical movement. You like a lot of the times there'll be like people that offer workshops for yoga nidra. It's not typically like a regular class that's offered. So I'll do like workshops here and there with it.
In your experience, how does yoga help your mind, not just your body?
Yoga for me, like I said, in high school, it was definitely more of like a physical practice. Felt like I was just getting some energy out. It was something to do. Like it felt kind of just like if I were to go take any like exercise class. But it was as I got older and when it came to be like 2020. So through yoga, I found like the path of meditation, the path of breath work. And to me, the breath is what helps my mind have so much more clarity and like is everything. So I think I also like I say to my students in class on a fairly regular basis. Like we start the class with grounding and with breath work so that not just the physical body arrives, but your mental body arrives. You're able to be more present because you know the people who are antsy, who want to just get to the movement, who haven't quite had the experience yet of the importance of the breath component. But without breath, you're not practicing yoga. You're just moving in a room or creating shapes with your body. So, like, it's the breath that makes it yoga and unlocks that part of it. So, I think it's through the breath that it becomes more than just a physical practice. Everyone shows up for a different reason. Everyone's looking to get something out of it different than the person next to them. But I think the physical part of it is great. But I think once you dive deeper into your practice, you realize like there's more mental benefits than maybe you realized.
Yeah. And on that same note, what is something that yoga has taught you about handling stress and emotions?
Yoga was like how I talked about how in 2020 I was going through a divorce and then my best friend died. And yoga was the only reason I survived that year at all. I think about like the ability to my process of changing how I perceive grieving in my own life. I was able to grieve the loss of my best friend in like the healthiest way I ever have. I remember one night, like the week that he died, just going out to our porch in where we used to live. And it was like late at this point. And I think mom just knew I was like in part of the, I always say like part of the woo, like just like going for like, oh, she's doing whatever, like whatever. She's chanting, she's oming, she's breathing like in a way that seems like she's hyperventilating, but it's a breath work pattern or whatever. So she just like knew to let me, to leave me, let me be. But yeah, I remember going outside on the porch and meditating and um just it was through like the door was meditation and the ability to stay there was I just wailed and I screamed and like I was able go through go through such a painful emotion rather than to suppress it or to not experience it or to experience it in an unhealthy way through unhealthy past pattern coping mechanisms. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it allowed me, yeah, it was like unlocking a new level of emotional rationality where I was able to, yeah, work through the emotion rather than suppress it.
Do you feel like a different version of yourself now compared to before you started your yoga journey?
Yeah, I feel like I'm always changing and evolving, but now, like before versus now, I feel like yoga came at a time in my life, that era of like 2020, the yoga and then also DBT, dialectic behavior therapy, came in my life like right at the same time. And they both are like the hand that shakes the other hand. Like they really coincide with each other. He's just like they coincide with each other really well. And the reason they do is because the creator of dialectic behavior therapy, Marsha Linehan, she based a lot of the therapy method in the philosophy of Buddhism.
Oh, wow.
So, so there's so much, like as we would learn a new skill, I would be like, oh, that correlates to like this breath work pattern that like, so a lot of her stuff in there's like four pillars to DBT. There's mindfulness. Oh, it's been a while. I have the book still. Mindfulness, emotion regulation, interpersonal effectiveness, like, and distress tolerance. Oh my God, I'm so happy I was able to remember that. And so in the distress tolerance pillar, it's like, distress tolerance is when you're at your 10 out of 10, or when you're, if you can picture an emotional scale and it goes from 1 to 10, and you're at like a 6, 7 or above on the Richter scale of your emotion, any emotion, that would be where you're in distress tolerance skill zone, which is like, how can you maintain where you're at with an emotion without making it worse? So a lot of it has to do with, they call it like biohacking. So like taking a freezing shower, sprinting up and down the street like 10 times, like literally changing your or physical chemistry has really positive impacts on moments where decision making doesn't feel clear because you're so clouded by the heightened sense of your emotion, be it anger, sadness, whatever, like the emotion. So there's all these skills and breath work comes into that a lot. So yeah, DBT and yoga, they both really like interplay well with each other. And so both of them coming into my life at that time, they both are a reason why I feel, a lot of reasons too, like having a healthy relationship and living with like a healthy partner. But it's like part of the good concoction, like all the pieces put together, like on the right medication, having a healthy friend group, having a healthy support system with my partner, with my family, with my friends.
Well, I
Uh,
also think that yoga and DBT helped you like acquire those things. Like, I think if you didn't set the foundation with yoga and DBT, I don't think you'd have a healthy relationship with friends or partner
yeah, no way.
and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
it,
I had to during yeah, I should clarify here. So during this whole time of like my divorce, my friend dying, like all of that turmoil, I was single. I was not with my partner now. And I think it's so good that I was single during this time. And it was so important to learn how to do all of that work on myself alone. Because like only you are the one that can get you out of the dark night of the soul, you know? And I've had a couple of those. So just being able to have skills, to have coping methods, breath, specifically breath, is like second nature for regulating my emotions in heightened moments when things are like that. Same thing with specifically like communication in my relationship. Breath is
yeah.
like the pause button.
Music is such a big part of life. So I'm sure that you use songs in your yoga class. So what kind of songs do you like to use during your classes?
I use pretty different music than music I would just like regularly listen to when I teach. I play a lot of like devotional music with there's a lot of music that has mantras in it or these like Hindu, like Sanskrit prayers or devotions. So there's one woman who has like an exceptionally angelic voice. Her name is Deva Pramal. She's German, but she sings a lot of those kinds of songs. Krishna Das is another one that I will play from time to time. I actually met him. He's very lovely. He
Oh,
was
that's cool.
Ram Dass's one of Ram Dass's like good friends. So I made it a point to meet him when he was in New York at one point. And there's more modern stuff that I'll play. I kind of try to mix it up, like, but there's an artist called MC Yogi, and it's kind of like rappy, but it's rappy about like positive stuff. Like, he has a whole album with John Pattern. And that whole album, it like start to finish, you could just play that and like have that be your whole yoga class playlist. It's really good. It's called Sound Patterns is the album name. So yeah, I play also a lot of music that's kind of EDM that doesn't have words because sometimes music with words can take students like
Yeah.
out of the experience rather than dive them deeper into it.
Yeah.
So the music should really enhance the student's experience, not distract them. That's why like you don't really want to be playing like poppy songs or songs that people know because they're just going to be like singing along and then they're
Mm.
distracted, you know?
Hmm.
So that's why like playing songs like in these different like languages can be good and songs without words like I don't even know how to pronounce it, but Odessa, they're
Yeah.
like an EDM group. I play a
Yes.
lot of them because they've got some good songs and it might just have like a line that they put on repeat, but it's like something positive or something.
And what kind of music do you like listening to outside of teaching?
I really like in
And
terms
what
of
is your current favorite song?
yeah, in terms of genre, I really like R&B music. Top artist of all time for me, I guess at the moment is definitely Kehlani. I love her, as you know.
I didn't know who she was until you. I
Yeah,
think I thought she was that girl from Fifth Harmony.
no, she actually was on one of those talent shows like years
Okay.
ago, but I think it was America's Got Talent she was on, and it was with like a girl group, and then she quickly branched off to do
So it
her
was
own thing.
similar to Fifth Harmony.
Yeah, yeah, I guess. I never watched it or anything, but I met her a couple years ago, last September, not this past September, but the one before. Yeah, I met her and she's awesome. And she just won a Grammy, like her first,
Oh, that's cool.
she won two Grammys at the Grammy Awards. So I was
Wow.
really happy. But I'm also sad because I'm like, damn, now those tickets are about to be so much more expensive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she's got a new album coming out in April, so I'm super excited for that. Another song I'm loving at the moment, or album, is Harry. I love Harry Styles, unfortunately for as Chris says, I like Harry Styles as a person. I think what did he say? He's like he does good work, like he's a philanthropist and he does some good work, but he just doesn't dig his music, which is fair because Chris likes his favorite genre is heavy metal. So not quite the
But
same
I am
thing.
also everyone I know likes Harry Styles, every single person I know, and his music is not it for me. So
Yeah.
me and Chris can high five on that because I've
Yeah.
never met anyone that doesn't like his music.
I'm pretty sure you guys are also the only people I know that don't like Elf, the movie with Will
I
Ferrell.
mean, it's fine. I just would never,
Same for him. Like it's fine. Yeah.
I would
So
never be
there's a
like, we
couple
have to
things,
watch that.
you contrarians. So I off his new album, American Girls. I really love that one, and Pop. I love that one. Oh, also Bad Bunny's new album. I don't know what he's saying, but love it. Like the beats.
Cool.
I don't know
Okay.
how new it is, but they're both.
And speaking of music, my benefit concerts, you were at the first two, the one in Delaware and the one in Boston. So, what was your experience like at them?
The one in Delaware was the first one that I went to.
That's the first one I had.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved that one, obviously because I got to hop on stage and MKTO Tony Aller by singing Malcolm's like rap in classic. And I actually surprised myself with how much I like remembered it. So that was amazing. And it was also just so nice. I really liked that one too. It felt like the perfect size venue. All the artists brought a little bit something different. Sadie Lee, is that her name?
Yep.
Yeah, I loved her music. It was very like kind of soul, like
Folky, yeah.
jazz. I don't know, not jazz. Yes, like soulful singer song. It was just really unique. And it seemed very original. So I really liked that. She had just an amazing voice. Like her voice was an instrument kind of thing. That one was great. And also all of like a lot of mom's family was there too, which was really nice.
You also went on stage with Margie. Do you remember that too?
Yeah, yeah, for popular. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Boston one, I really enjoyed it because I got to bring Chris because he wasn't at the first one because we had just started dating at the first one. So it was fun for him to be brought into it. And I felt like I was more involved in the second one because I'm the one that like went to the armory and kind of scoped it out for you that day to kind of let you know what it was like and whatever.
Hmm.
Remember that? Yeah.
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah. So I just yeah, and with it being in Massachusetts, I was able to invite some of my friends, so it felt like more personal. Like my best friend John was able to go. One of my housemates went at the time. Yeah, I just felt like I was able to like contribute. I Chris and I were also like helping to put up flyers for you guys, so we felt like we were actually like contributing a little bit more.
Hmm. Yeah, and you were helping the day of, or I don't know if you were, but Chris was like scanning tickets, so he was like actually in the action.
Yeah, yeah, he was happy to be there. And I'm excited that he's also going to be at the I'm so happy the walk is on a Saturday because both
Yeah,
for
me
him and
too.
I like the weekends are our time off. So we know like even that far in advance we'll be able to do it, you know?
Yeah.
So so
That's
yeah, I think that concert who I'm trying to think. I really my favorite one from that concert was Johnny. Yeah, I really liked Johnny.
It was Jared, Johnny, Grace, Drew, and Alex.
Yeah, there was five. It was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So when you are personally struggling, what is something that you do to help yourself get through it?
I think the ability to know yourself well enough to know when I'm like, what is my baseline and when am I deviating from that baseline? So for me, if I'm not getting enough exercise, if I'm not taking enough yoga classes, if I'm teaching too many yoga classes, that can lead to me getting burnt out. My physical body can start to feel burnt out. I know that I'm not like at my baseline if I'm feeling like extra snappy for not really like a particular reason. I also try to like track my cycles so that like I and Chris are both aware of like where my hormones are at any given time in the month so that we can like work with my body and not against it. And I think because of having bipolar disorder and BPD, there's just like already it's a mood disorder, right? Like bipolar disorder is a mood disorder. So like any little thing on top of that just can exacerbate it in a way that it would be much different on someone who doesn't have it. So just knowing yourself really well, knowing like what routines work and what I do when I'm not feeling good, once I establish, okay, I'm not at that baseline point, like something's off, I try to tell Chris right away and just vocalize like where I'm at. And then it's sometimes I don't even know what's wrong, but I know like I feel an emotion, but I'm not sure why the emotion has come up. And then it's through talking about it with him typically that we're able to get to like the root of like what's actually going on. And then from there, being able to identify like, okay, so what's like the action step we're gonna take from here now that
Mhm.
we know what the reason is. So I think like talking for me, talking about it with people is what makes me feel not alone and what makes me feel validated. And like obviously you validate yourself in this life, but it can also feel comforting to have validation externally as well, of course. Talking to friends who understand, yeah, having like a support system in your life, journaling, writing poetry, moving your body, like to shift the energy, all those things can help.
And if someone that's listening is curious about starting yoga, what advice would you give them?
I would give people the advice to not look on social media because there's so many like yoga accounts on social media of like people doing the most crazy shit with their body and like doing these crazy arm balances and doing this and doing that. And it's like, I am considered an advanced yogi given like how long I've been teaching, how long I've been practicing, and I can't do any of that. Like yoga is not about this is like literally in, I think, my bio for Bar and Soul, because each teacher has their own bio, so a student can kind of get to know us better before they take our class. And I think my bio says something like yoga is not being able to balance on your hands. It's about being able to create like stability within yourself. So it again, kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, where I think for a lot of people, they think, oh, yoga. Well, awesome. There's yoga itself, like yoga, the root yog comes from Sanskrit, which means to yoke or to form a union, to become like in unison with. So the asana part of yoga is the physical postures falls under the hatha yoga umbrella, which is one tier of yoga. I'm gonna butcher the name, but it's no, not Jnana. Jnana yoga is just the practice of studying the Vedic texts and studying the ancient Sanskrit texts to gain wisdom for moksha or enlightenment. So there's so many different like kinds of yoga. There's devotional bhakti yoga. Physical postures are just like under one limb. So I would encourage people to like study more about yoga itself but if they know that they're interested in the physical part and they want to go take a class, I would say go to a studio that's close enough near you that if you do like it, you could see yourself creating like an actual practice out of it, not just like doing a drop-in once every 3 months, because you're not going to really see progress that way or feel like you're accomplishing much that way.
Hmm.
It's a practice, so you want to be doing it as regularly as you can within the season of your life that you're in. So yeah, you want a studio that's local enough that you could see yourself like going to and it not really being like a hassle or a reason for you not to go. Another kind of excuse. So I'd say that. I'd also say look for a studio with teachers who encourage intuitive movement. But I think so for me as an instructor, I always say, like, what do I do best as an instructor is I guide intuitive movement. So I'm much more interested in students creating for themselves
And it's just following
than do
along.
playing Simon Says.
Okay.
Like some students want that. They just want to be told what to do. They don't want to think. They don't want to
Yeah.
whatever. And I'm not necessarily asking you to think if I'm guiding intuitive movement. I'm asking you to be intuitive and like feel your way with your
Yeah.
body kind of thing. But that's not going to be for everyone at any given moment. Like you have to be in a certain space to want to do that. So I all the feedback that I receive from my students is they appreciate that I give them that space and reminding them constantly, like you have the autonomy to do whatever the hell you want, whenever the hell you want. You want to go to the bathroom in the middle of class, go to the bathroom. You want to just lay there in child's pose and focus on your breath. Great, that's still yoga. Like, and I've had students do that. So just really, you want to find a studio that makes you feel like you can thoroughly be you and do your own thing when you want to. If you need to take rest, you can take rest. If you need to take water, take water.
Mhm. And speaking of yoga classes, do you want to let listeners know where you teach and what days and that information if they want to come take a yoga class with you?
Sure. I teach at Bar and Soul Yoga Studio in Melrose, Massachusetts. I don't know the exact address, but it's on Franklin Street.
That's okay. They can Google it.
And I also teach, and I teach there on Mondays, Tuesdays, and two classes on Thursdays starting in a couple weeks. I just added a second class on Thursdays as of yesterday. And then I also teach at LPY Yoga and Barre in Woburn, Massachusetts, and I teach there on Tuesday mornings at 9:15.
Cool. And then
Yeah.
we're in the beginning stages of hopefully planning a fundraiser yoga class in September for our Hold On Till Dawn team for the Boston walk in October.
It's a lot of words. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully it'll be September 12th. Because on Saturdays, they really only have morning classes. So I was thinking I could offer like a 5:30 or 6 p.m. like vinyasa class. Because students always say they want that anyway. So, but yeah, this was fun.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a good
Of
episode.
course.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah, let me know. Keep me filled in.
Oh well.
All right.
Okay.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. Our website is holdontilldawn.com and our email is holdontilldawn@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram at holdontildawn and on Facebook at Hold On Till Dawn Benefit Concert. See you next time.